My name is Svetlana, and I'm going to talk about storytelling, what it is, how to get good at it, and tips on how to effectively incorporate it in your crowdfunding campaign. In this session, we will introduce storytelling in the context of crowdfunding. We'll talk about the science behind why storytelling matters, the elements of a compelling story, what storytelling means for crowdfunding, and how to do it in the digital era. We'll also go through an example of good storytelling and finally give you a checklist to keep in mind when preparing your campaign. This session is about how to use stories to activate people in your crowdfunding campaign. It's about how to create empathy through stories and how to craft stories for impact. Stories communicate. A story can be much more effective than simply sharing facts and figures because a story can draw you in, make you feel how a character might feel, and if someone's listening to your story, feeling your story, they might just decide to donate. So what's storytelling? I bet you've heard it already. Storytelling is the art of conveying or presenting a narrative or series of events through words, images, or other forms of communication. It has been a fundamental part of human culture for thousands of years and is used to share experiences, entertain, educate, and communicate ideas. Storytelling is important for several reasons. First of all, stories have the power to connect people emotionally, bridging gaps and fostering empathy. They engage the audience by capturing their attention and creating a shared experience. Stories also provide a framework for conveying complex ideas and information in a way that is relatable and easily understood. They can simplify abstract concepts, making them more accessible and memorable. Stories can also inspire and motivate individuals by offering examples of triumph over adversity, personal growth, or the realization of dreams. They can ignite imagination and encourage people to think beyond their context and current circumstances. Finally, stories are persuasive tools that can change minds, shape opinions, and influence behavior. They appeal to both logic and emotions, making them powerful instruments for conveying messages and promoting causes. Overall, storytelling plays a crucial role in human communication, helping us make sense of the world, convey meaning, and connect with one another on a deeper level. It has the power to shape perspectives, change lives, and leave a lasting impact. That's why storytelling should be an integral component of your crowdfunding campaign. So why do stories work exactly? Let's get into the science of it. Effective storytelling has been studied from various scientific perspectives, including psychology, neuroscience, and communication. Here are some key scientific insights on the science behind effective storytelling. First of all, stories engage the brain. Storytelling basically activates multiple regions of our brains. Studies have shown that compelling narratives stimulate areas associated with sensory experiences, emotions, and motor responses. This multisensory engagement enhances our attention, memory, and overall engagement with an issue. Stories also have the power to evoke emotional responses by triggering the release of neurotransmitters such as dopamine, oxytocin, and cortisol, which are associated with pleasure and reward, empathy and trust, and heightened attention. What's more, mirror neurons in the brain play a role in understanding others' actions, intentions, and emotions. So when we're using compelling storytelling, this can activate these mirror neurons in our brain, fostering empathy and allowing our audience to experience the emotions and perspectives of the characters or the storyteller. This enhances the audience's connection to the story. In addition, stories are more memorable than isolated facts or data. Research suggests that narrative structures activate cognitive processes such as pattern recognition, mental stimulation, and causal reasoning. Stories with well-defined plots and memorable characters create mental frameworks that aid in creating memories, information retrieval, and retention. And finally, effective storytelling captures and sustains audience attention. The human brain is wired to seek patterns, novelty, and conflict. Skillful storytellers actually employ techniques such as suspense, surprise, and curiosity to maintain engagement and stimulate these cognitive processes involved in attention and information processing in our brains. Research has identified common narrative structures such as the hero's journey, which can be found across cultures and historical periods. These structures provide a familiar and satisfying framework for storytelling. Understanding these patterns can help storytellers this means you, to create narratives that resonate with audiences. You can check out the 7 basic plots of storytelling, which are listed here in the table, for more inspiration. You'll be able to find the resources for this on SparkBlue. So what exactly makes a story compelling? Compelling stories often possess certain key elements that captivate and engage the audience. While the specific elements may vary depending on the context and genre, here are some common elements found in many compelling stories. There is usually a central character or a protagonist with whom the audience can empathize and root for. The protagonist is usually faced with a challenge or goal that drives the story forward. At UDP, we're often focused on talking about challenges from the perspective of the organization. But as part of a crowdfunding campaign, it is much more effective to work with the communities we're serving to identify moving stories and place them at the heart of our campaign. But be careful to avoid exceptionalist stories that suggest people overcome systemic barriers solely because of grit and individual perseverance, which often perpetuates stereotypes. There's usually also a struggle or problem that the protagonist must overcome. Conflict can arise from various sources, such as external forces, internal dilemmas, or interpersonal relationships. It creates tension and drives the narrative. Thirdly, the plot refers to the sequence of events that unfolds in the story. It includes the introduction of the characters, the development of the conflict, the rising action and climax, and following action and the resolution. A well-structured plot keeps the audience engaged and invested. A compelling story is also personal and evokes emotions in the audience. It can make them laugh, cry, feel suspense, joy, or sadness. Emotional engagement connects the audience to the story on a personal level. Finally, the conclusion of the story provides a sense of closure and answers the main questions or conflicts raised throughout the narrative. A satisfying resolution ties loose ends and leaves the audience with a lasting impression. Ask your individual givers to be part of the resolution. So the story sweet spot is basically the intersection of 3 things: your story, trends and culture, and audience interests. By embedding your story in culture and current trends and the interests of your audience, you can have a greater chance of getting visibility. That's why it's so important to know your audience. So let's look at storytelling in the digital age, which presents unique opportunities and challenges. Here are some tips to enhance your storytelling in the digital era. As we've explained, you must know your audience. Understand the demographics, preferences, behaviors, and values of your target audience in the digital space. People are more likely to engage with information that aligns with their deeply held beliefs. So tailor your storytelling approach to resonate with their interests and their consumption habits. Connect with what they really care about and how they see themselves. Also, take advantage of the diverse digital mediums available, such as videos, podcasts, social media, blogs, and interactive content. Adapt your storytelling to various formats to engage different audience segments and cater to their preferences. As we know, in a digital environment filled with distractions, it's crucial to hook your audience from the start. So begin with a compelling opening that captures attention and that sparks curiosity to encourage viewers to continue engaging with your story. Let's also not forget to leverage the power of visuals to enhance your storytelling. Utilize high-quality images, videos, infographics, and animations to create an immersive and visually appealing experience. Visuals can evoke emotions, simplify complex ideas, and make your story more memorable. And finally, use social media platforms strategically to amplify your storytelling efforts. Tailor your content for each platform, engage with your audience, and leverage features like live streaming and stories to extend the reach and impact of your story. Remember, storytelling in the digital age is about creating meaningful connections, capturing attention, and leveraging the interactive nature of digital platforms to engage and inspire your audience. In the context of crowdfunding, crafting a compelling story is crucial to attract and engage potential backers. We now know that stories have that power to evoke emotions. Therefore, when people can connect emotionally with positive changes that the crowdfunding campaign can bring, they become invested in its success. So humanizing your crowdfunding efforts means turning statistics into real faces and lives. This builds trust and inspires action and creates a compelling narrative that resonates with your audience. Let's take a look at the core elements of storytelling in the context of crowdfunding. Start off by clearly communicating the purpose and mission of your crowdfunding campaign. Explain why your project or idea matters and how it can have a positive impact. Connect your mission to a larger cause or address a problem that resonates with potential backers. Stories help your audience to understand systematic problems and challenges that are often difficult to understand. For example, campaigns with a social or environmental focus often emphasize the impact they aim to make. By showcasing the problem they intend to solve or the positive change they want to create, these campaigns tap into the desire for social responsibility and collective action from our audience. Secondly, clearly articulate what sets your project apart from others. Highlight the innovative or unique aspects that make it stand out or your potential for impact. Explain why it's worth supporting and why backers should be excited about it. In a crowded crowdfunding landscape, showcasing the tangible difference your campaign can make helps you stand out. It sets you apart as a cause worth supporting. And thirdly, think about creating a personal connection. This is vital. Share your personal journey, experiences, or motivations that led you to pursue the project. Or if it is more powerful or suitable, share the experiences of the community you're working with. Make it relatable and show your or their passion and dedication. People are much more likely to support projects when they feel a personal connection to the storyteller or communities. Think about whose perspective you'll be using to tell the story. Remember to also establish trust and credibility by being transparent about your project. Provide details about your team and their expertise and any relevant achievements. Share your progress, your challenges, and how you plan to use the funds. Backers want to feel confident that their support will be used responsibly. And of course, utilize visuals such as images, videos, or infographics to enhance your storytelling. Show prototypes or concept art or examples of your work, or examples of your communities. Visuals can capture attention, convey information effectively, and give backers a glimpse of what you're offering and what you're planning to do. And now for some more tips. Try to incorporate testimonials or endorsements from people who have experienced or supported your work in the past. This will provide social proof that your efforts are meaningful and effective. It can also build credibility, increase confidence in your project, and show the impact and transformative nature of what you're doing. Use genuine and relatable stories from those who've experienced your work's positive effects to inspire potential backers to join in supporting your campaign. Also, show the progress you've made so far, whenever that's possible, and outline the future milestones you aim to achieve with crowdfunding support or fundraising. Offering a behind-the-scenes look at how things are developing or sharing prototype sketches or updates on the progress made so far is crucial. This demonstrates momentum. It shows that you basically have a clear plan, and this can give confidence to potential backers and generate anticipation among your supporters. Also, clearly state what action you want potential backers to take. The call to action should be specific and show how your solution will address the problem you're solving. Make it clear that you're asking for funds and make it easy for people to contribute and share your story. Also, make sure people know how each donation will have an impact. Actively engage with your audience through sharing updates or responding to comments and inquiries. Show that you value their support and involvement. Building a community around your campaign can enhance its appeal and generate word-of-mouth promotion. And finally, if applicable, outline the benefits and rewards backers will receive for their support. Offer enticing and exclusive rewards that align with the project. Make sure the rewards are compelling and provide value to backers. See our session on donation tiers and rewards to learn more. Remember, in the context of crowdfunding, storytelling should not only convey the essence of your project, but also inspire and motivate people to contribute and become advocates for your campaign. Effective storytelling in crowdfunding aims to provoke emotions, establish trust, and clearly communicate the project's value and potential impact. If you have to remember 3 things for your campaign storytelling, let it be these. First of all, keep it simple. Remember the rule of 3. Focus on 3 messages that you want to clearly communicate to your audience. Remember, nobody will remember 10 different things. Don't share too much information. If someone wants to learn more, give them extra links or information, but don't overwhelm potential givers. Second, make your story vivid through narrative and through imagery. First of all, facts and figures just don't cut it. They actually dull the emotional response. Put them somewhere on your website. If people want to find them, they will find them, but don't let them be the main focus of your campaign. You need to focus on catching people's attention and moving them to act by triggering emotion. That's why we need stories to actually give the context and meaning to all this data, because at the end of the day, people will not remember the data. People will remember the story and the emotion that they felt while reading the story. So it's all about getting the emotions into the picture, and it's about using these emotions to build relationships with donors. If you're going to be able to achieve this, you will be able to build a community. So make sure to use concrete and visual language as well as vivid imagery to make your story stand out. This will engage the brain, as we know, and helps people to understand and remember information much better. And finally, invoke emotion, but with intention. So nuanced emotional appeals are more effective than simply relying on sadness or guilt. People actually tend to avoid information that makes them feel bad or obligates them to do something they don't want to do or makes them feel ashamed. Pleasant emotions such as awe, pride, solidarity, dignity can be very powerful motivators for action. So shifting from fear, anger, or guilt to hope can be more effective in inspiring action. And of course, be strategic about the emotions you trigger with your stories. Now we're going to do a deep dive into an example of good storytelling. Charity Water is a nonprofit bringing clean and safe drinking water to people in developing nations. Since 2006, they've funded more than 138,000 water projects in 29 developing countries. And their mission is really clear. They state the problem and solution in an easy to understand way. The problem being that 700 million people don't have access to clean drinking water, which is 1 in 10 of us. And that diseases from dirty water kill more people every year than all forms of violence, including war. But there's good news according to them. There are simple solutions from deep drilled wells to water filtration systems. And so far, with the help of 1 million donors and individual fundraisers, they've raised over $740 million. They also have a really clear ask, what they want from the individual givers, and they utilize visuals such as images, videos, infographics to enhance their storytelling. Note the emotional appeal of the photos. They are about dignity and hope rather than sadness. They focus on how they are changing people's lives, and this way invite donors to be part of that. In addition, they are transparent about their fundraising. They showcase how, for example, a water project sponsorship works and what solutions they're applying in a really easy to understand way. In terms of their model, they also state that 100% of all public donations go toward the project costs and showcase their impact through reports to donors and a map of all the drilled wells. This builds credibility and trust with the community. In relation to the impact, they are also really good at highlighting stories from the field, really focusing on the community and how the proposed solutions they offer work. These impact stories also provide social proof that their efforts are meaningful and effective, as we previously discussed. Impact stories inspire others to contribute, and potential backers are more likely to take action when they see tangible evidence of how their support can change lives. Finally, they use a variety of channels in support of their fundraising, including offline events with high-profile individuals, but also elaborate social media strategies. These are just some examples on the screen. They strategically use, for example, international days, even Valentine's Day, to inspire donations. And while Charity Water is engaged in a long-term fundraising campaign, many of the insights that I mentioned can be applied to any crowdfunding or fundraising campaign. From the clear explanation of the problem and solution to highlighting the community and featuring success stories, through building transparency into the fundraising through reporting and sharing of impact, using visual aids for storytelling, and also not to forget using engaging copy on the website and other materials and making it as accessible as possible to your audience. So before we end, here's a checklist to keep in mind when you're crafting your campaign. These are just some questions that will help guide you when creating and crafting any of the communications materials that we will be working on. Remember to give people an opportunity to be part of this bigger story. So try to have a list of all these elements and try to use them in your storytelling as well. At the heart of it, you need to show that you have a purpose for what you're proposing, and also to explain what you're going to be doing in detail and how these funds are going to support you and what is the impact you hope to achieve. And finally, here are some resources that will be available to you. Here are some stories articles that will help you along your storytelling journey. There is also a template available to identify your major story arcs. You'll also find on Spark Blue 2 additional resources which are connected to the 7 basic plots, as well as the checklist that we listed in the previous slide. Thank you, and see you in the next session.